Hello, and welcome to the webinar on how AI supercharges your ERP data. My name is Paul Tedford. I am the CEO at WM Synergy. WM Synergy is a company of 160 experienced professionals in North America that help manufacturers and distributors realize their full potential through great process and improved processes, best practices for your manufacturing type, as well as the best software solutions, whether it be ERP, AI, or otherwise, as well as offering continuous improvement. And we'll go a little bit through that today. But what we're really here for is to talk about AI. And I think all of us have been using AI for many years. Just a couple examples of how we've been doing that. The top left-hand side, Nest thermostat. Some of you may have other thermostats that learn from your settings. But with a Nest thermostat, if you wake up every morning for the first week of using it, it remembers when you turn it up, so what time it was, or when you turn it down. It knows from your smartphone data when you're leaving the house, and obviously when you come back into the house and when you go to bed to keep it cool. So to understand your preferences, you're feeding it data, and it is learning from that and setting the temperatures or the modes correctly to either make sure that you're warm, make sure that you're cool, or to make sure that you're saving money based on energy consumption. So just one example of how we've all been using AI for many years. On the bottom left is Amazon. And we've all heard about or all seen, hey, customers that buy this product also buy these products too. And it's not just a simple algorithm. What that's doing is going through millions of purchases, and it's finding out not just the product, it's looking at not just the data of the product you're buying today or yesterday, but the data of all other customers that buy similar products to you throughout your history of using Amazon. So all that great data, it's learning the preferences of everybody else that's bought similar things and making recommendations, cross-sell, upsell type recommendations to increase sales for Amazon and to provide a service to you, if you think of it that way. So that's kind of an advertisement tool based on data that's using AI. Top right is Uber. I'm not sure if you've ever been in a rainstorm in New York City or in Boston, or you were not in a rainstorm and it was, perfectly clear day. The Uber was $50 to get to the airport. All of a sudden it starts downpouring and now it's $110. So it's not an army of people waiting for a storm or watching the weather. It's actually AI watching what's going on with other applications that now say it's raining or data on the web, and it updates that price in real time, as well as when things get busier, like a lot of people call for an Uber at once from the same location. So supply and demand there. And then the bottom right is Google Maps. We've all been putting data into Google Maps, especially as it connects to Waze. And if you report that a police officer on the side of the road, you'll get alerts to slow down. There's a speed trap. But you'll also get alerts when there's unfortunately an accident or a traffic jam, and it will reroute you based on all the data it has in its system, knowing how many other people are on the road at that time, as well as how many Google users are on the road at that time going that direction, so it knows to reroute you, which is another example of AI. And that last example is really doing what we've all seen AI do over the last couple of years, which is to save us all time, right? So if we can get to our destination 15 minutes faster, I think we all would appreciate that rather than being stuck in traffic. And one of AI's big promises is to save time. So, and that's what Chat GPT has really highlighted over the last couple of years. Has OpenAI, Chat GPT, and other similar large language models and generative AI solutions have come to market and been widely usable by all of us. So, one example of that is job descriptions. And if I just go into Copilot on my Windows computer and I type in, for example, create me a job description for a quality control specialist in aerospace and defense manufacturing company that will ensure compliance for CMMC, NIST, and DBARS, it'll think for a second, but then it will spit out a job description that I could post right into Indeed or LinkedIn for recruiting purposes. That's pretty close to what I would have taken a half an hour to an hour to write, or you would have done taken a half an hour to an hour to write. So again, saving time, and also maybe putting some things in there that you might not have considered. You do the same thing with marketing content. It could give you ideas on writing blogs, writing marketing content, doing SEO type things. So just other examples of how it could save you time, sales script, business plans. You could actually go into there and say things like, hey, I'm starting a business. Here's my business plan. These are the competitors. What am I not thinking about, or what am I not considering? So you could do things like that, and maybe it might spit out something or respond with something that you may not have considered that would be good to have in your business plan. Travel plans, another thing ChatGPT could do. We went to Ireland a couple of years ago, and we wrote that we have 7 days in Ireland. We don't want to see this, this, and this. We want to see this, this, and this, and we want to spend 2 days here. And it created the itinerary, day to day, time to time, when I should leave, right through ChatGPT. So another example of it saving time. And then chatbots. Google has a tool from Chatbase, which is a chat robot or chatbot that you can plug into your website that reads all your web content. And when you ask it a question, it will ask a question based on the context of having all that data in the website in mind. So again, all of these things are saving you quite a bit of time. And this is all using what's widely available on the World Wide Web, or otherwise stated, public data. So you've probably heard that data is the new oil, or data is the new gold. But really, when it comes to having a competitive advantage in manufacturing and distribution over the next 2, 5, 10, 20 years, it's your data that will be the new oil or the new gold. And what I mean by your data is the data that's in your private systems that you can mine through an AI tool to provide competitive advantage. And we'll start going through a couple examples of that in a moment. And we're seeing these trends. And if you're looking at this Gartner data from a few years ago in 2019, average number of AI ML projects deployed, per company per year, 4 in 2019, now 35 in 2022. The reason why that is increasing is the cost to do AI and ML projects was really prohibitive for small to medium-sized businesses. It was really that technology and the cost of the expertise and all of those things was really only made possible due to that barrier of entry, that cost barrier of entry for large Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. But over time, that cost in the tools that are available now make it available for any size company. And down the bottom right, it states that 59% of all respondents to this survey have a AI deployed today. So if we're looking at how do I get involved with AI, know that your competitors are starting to use AI, and they will be using it in the future. So the goal of today is to show some examples of how other companies like you are using manufacturing. And then the second part of today is, what's the roadmap to get there? If I haven't started yet, what should I do? Right. So let's go through those use cases first. So I have a couple here on this slide. So this software is a tool called Connect AI. It connects directly to the ERP data or the QMS data, or both. And this is an example of a company that's only 8 million in size, has 40 employees in there. And when you're that size, any project that you take on, really has to make for a good ROI, right? It has to either lower your cost or substantially increase your revenue, so that you're expanding your profit margins, right? So this company is industrial manufacturing, 8 million, 40 employees, and they were in an industry that was pretty unique, and they had a bespoke or a custom piece of equipment that was made many years ago specifically for them. And because of that, it didn't have like a PLC, or could not connect directly to the internet, to the local area network. It didn't have that capability. So instead of having sensors on it, giving feedback, it wasn't able to do that. And the problem they had is this machine would break down multiple times a day. And when it did, it would scrap all the material that the job or the work order that was on the machine. So they'd have a higher cost. It would also delay delivery to the customers, and it would mean that they had to reduce throughput, so they couldn't ship out as much as they would have anyways. So it had an effect of reducing revenue and increasing cost. So for $8,000 investing in a couple cameras and the software subscription cost, they were able to solve this problem. So what it did is the root cause they found by going through some 5 why methodology there was that the screws, some of the screws or bolts actually on the machine, when a certain speed of the machine happened, they would start backing out due to vibration. So the cameras, there would be 2 cameras, one that would look at the side of it for the depth of the bolts to see if that's changing, and one that would look at it from straight on. And when the vibration happened, it would stop, it would alert somebody and say, hey, this is about to go down, go tighten up those bolts so you don't have that scrap, and you can increase your throughput. So that was one use case. It's using cameras, it's watching for vibrations and patterns, learning those patterns over time. That's where the AI comes in of the vibration. And that's just one example. Another example of using the same tool with these cameras is to be able to take measurements. So over time, if you place a part, say it's a machine part or a cable harness or a cable assembly, it might measure the length. It might look for blemishes. It might need to measure inside, outside diameter using optics. And by AI learning what work order is next on the dispatch list in the ERP, as well as understanding the geometry of each part, what the part looks like, it knows what job it is, it knows what part it is, you put it under, it takes the measurements, and then it just writes back all the quality data without somebody having to do that manually, right to the ERP or QMS system. So two real life examples of this solution using AI to save time, but also reduce cost and improve profitability. Another example is pricing. We worked with a metal extrusion company that, one of their big issues is they had thousands or tens of thousands of SKUs or part IDs. And one thing, they weren't making the margins they wanted on all those products, right? So some of them were making higher margins than they expected. Some were making no margins at all, but they didn't have the data for like the labor, material, burden, overhead cost to know what the margins were at first. Once they implemented the ERP, they did. But the next problem that came about was since they had 10,000 parts, and because there was many variables to their pricing, demand, what those costs were, were the raw material costs going up, was the labor cost going up, what were the trends in demand. It took them many weeks to create pricing catalogs with pricing, I should say, for all those parts. So they would actually lose orders, lose business, because they couldn't give a price back without going to engineering or doing a lot of studying, looking at the data. And with AI, looking at all those variables, raw material costs, trends in demand, labor, material, burden, overhead costs, are they going up, are they going down, price history by quarter, by month, by seasonality, they were able to update those catalogs multiple times a year, and sales reps internally and outside reps could give pricing in an instant, which increased their win rate by over 30%. So that's pricing. Inventory control and planning. This is a capital equipment company, about $20 million company, a little bit over 100 employees. Actually, they're right under 100 employees. And they spent many hours each quarter manually updating thousands of parts on the part master, the item master, the planning parameters. So what that would happen is, over time, they might get more orders for this or more orders for that. And then it would blow through the bill of material, right? And make sure that you had all the raw materials and sub-assemblies in stock. And unfortunately, if demand spiked or went down quite a bit in some of those parts, they wouldn't go into the part master for all the items in that fully indented bill of material and updated the planning parameters. So in this example, AI would actually watch those trends, watch what's going on with the inventory levels, and it would set the planning parameters in all those parts automatically. So just a few examples. Here's one with, Ocular or OCR and AI working together. So for like an AP three-way match automation, or for expense management, taking a picture of a receipt, reading the data off of it and putting it into expense management. That's an example of OCR working with AI. And traditionally, without AI, you would have to build templates because every supplier, every customer, or every receipt would have a different acknowledgement form or receipt form format with data in different places, maybe called different things. But with AI, you can get away from having to build all those different possible variations of templates and just have the OCR work to do this automation. So just an example, other AI tools that are embedded in some of the ERPs that we provide and that are on the market are things like looking at anomalies in GL postings. As the dates don't make sense, do the amounts, the dollar values not make sense? So things of that nature where it can, do an alert or a warning that, hey, this doesn't look right. And so that way, if it's caught up front and it's more proactive, you can close your books much quicker each month or at the end of year. Forecast intelligence is some of the things that we're working on right now. We have a customer down in Arkansas that's working on forecast intelligence. Other examples like sales and customer intelligence, like the Amazon thing for manufacturers, we're seeing people get into now. And we haven't done it yet, but we're starting to dive into AI on scheduling and shop floor execution. What job should I work on next? And there are tools out there, such as Protected Flow, that can do that right now. So we want to make sure that if you're using AI, it's responsible, practical, and valuable, meaning that it's not increasing your cost substantially and outweighing the benefits, that it actually provides a bottom line return for our customers and for you. So those are some examples, that those real use cases, but what's the roadmap on how to get there? So this is not entirely linear. I mean, you could do some of these steps out of order, but in general, what we recommend from working with over 1,800 customers on their journey to business improvement is this roadmap. So first, you want to look at your strategic objectives. Do you have a 1, 3, 5, 10-year plan and strategy on how to get to that plan? So let's do that first. Number 2, you want to choose a partner. And you don't have to do this. This is just a recommendation. But for example, when our consultants in technologists, data architects, when they go into customers over and over and over again, they're seeing different ideas of how different companies tackle things. So we build a library of best practices from all that knowledge, including the knowledge that our consultants, who typically have worked in your industry or in industry before, have. So we have a library of best practices for every process in your company. And we have the expertise, a company like WM Synergy, to help do current state, future state maps in a very methodical manner that also takes into consideration change management. And we're all humans, so we all sometimes have a aversion to change, so that we can help with that as well. And then people that understand the small, medium enterprises, right? So small, medium, I'm thinking under 500 million, between 5 million and $500 million in value. So certainly not small companies, but it's classified as small and medium. And we provide turnkey solutions for that. So you're looking for a partner that can help you with both continuous improvement, looking at current state, future state, value streams, and then saying, hey, based on this and based on these outputs, that auditing those current processes and identifying opportunities, here's the recommendations. And some of them, which is step 4, don't require technology. Some of them can just be implemented with the data or the technology you have today. It doesn't require new tech, potentially, right? And then step 5 would be if there are potential opportunities that are significant for your business, to explore a future-proof cloud system built on a modern platform. And that built on a modern platform is key. What we're seeing today is there's a lot of ERPs that are just moving to the cloud, but they don't have that platform. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. That platform is what's going to allow you to do some of the automation, some of the AI, the machine learning, and some of the better business intelligence. So step 6 would be, after you've chosen the right partner, chosen the right product, implement the technology with your with data governance understood. So you have to have clean data, making sure you're putting the data in that you need to support those future state goals, as well as implement to support those future state goals. And then step 7 is keeping that key stakeholder team together, your ERP or AI implementation team, that understands, might be 5 to 7 people, keep them together, and every quarter have a goal of taking one more continuous improvement step each quarter, so you're always constantly improving. So that's the roadmap, and let's talk about steps 1 through 4. And I'll go through this at a very high level, but it'll give you an idea of how we see the most successful companies that have successful implementations of ERP and AI, what they do and what their process is. So first, it's focusing on that strong and scalable foundation. So what we have to ask ourselves, and us as a company, all levels from the executive team throughout the whole company, are you where you want to be, right? So what's the end goal in mind? So keeping that end goal in mind, starting with that end goal of mind. If you don't have a plan already, we need to assess where you are today, right? And then look at where the opportunities for improvement are, right? And you want to make sure people feel comfortable telling the truth in that. When you're looking at a lot of these processes, there's inputs from upstream things, like if something starts with estimating, you may have engineers or you may have sales involved there, right? And then it goes into order entry, right? And then it will go into planning and production, and then maybe out to the shop floor, and then it goes to quality, right? So you might have a different process than that, but you need to make sure that those people feel comfortable of why they're changing things, and they're part of the process flow, the value stream throughout your company, because it will help the company overall. But there might be some things that they don't like initially, to be frank, in their processes. So we have to make sure we understand the greater benefit to the company, and we also have to understand and make them feel comfortable talking about what their current challenges are or issues that they're experiencing day to day, because it's important that we lay those out and understand them and look at those as opportunities for improvement. Sometimes people don't feel comfortable with an executive in the room telling that. So we have to make sure that that's, that change management, that, openness is fostered in these sessions. And then, how does the downstream or upstream impact affect others, right? So one of the things that you might want to consider here is making sure whoever's doing this, whether it's an internal resource helping with this process mapping, the current state and then the future state and the value streams, they know how to do it. They've done it many times. They have experience with this. You want to make sure you have a cross-functional team that includes upstream and downstream, stakeholders in these processes. Those can include internal employees, obviously, but also customers and suppliers sometimes. Define clear scope for each process. Where's the start and end? And then make sure you have somebody that can help you, that has experience working with hundreds of customers like you or 100 companies like you, that can bring those best practices and that understand what all the technology can do if used creatively or if set up properly, how there's opportunities to improve efficiency, to automate the process, and those kind of things. So again, going to go through some of this quickly, but starting with mapping the current state, the tried and true way of doing that is still with sticky notes on a wall in a conference room with everybody in person together. But we have done these things virtually with virtual sticky notes on a Teams meeting or Zoom. You maintain that opportunity sheet. So we have all the challenges down. You might be focusing on one process right now, but something comes up that's an opportunity otherwise. We want to come back to that, right? So keep that parking lot. And then for the future state, start with a clean slate. Don't let what you're doing today, kind of being allergic to what your current processes are, or allergic to that phrase, doing what we've always done, right? That's how we've always done it. So start with that clean slate. Eliminate any unnecessary handoffs and sign-offs is one of the opportunities for efficiency. And sometimes you need those sign-offs, absolutely. But there's an opportunity there. And then identifying areas for the technology to support you in those efficiencies and efforts. Defining those key metrics. So again, starting with that end in mind, what are the metrics that you want to change positively, right? And are we making sure the process is going to get you there? And do we have a way to measure them? And do we have it visible to everybody that needs to have it visible to? Because measuring and showing what's happening can affect behavior. And then define those process owners. So when you're preparing for change, make sure you prepare your company and your leadership for change. That we need to improve teamwork together. Sometimes you might want to go through like a DISC assessment, where you can understand the motivations and why different people with different disc profiles or different personalities, why they're doing what they're doing, right? It helps with a team, it helps with change, right? And involve all those employees. Now, these slides I'm going to fly through, but some of the common things we find when doing these business process assessments, where we're looking at current state and the desired future state, for example, in estimating, there may be a manual costing effort where, integration to SolidWorks could bring that bill of material over. The ERP has the cost for all that information, and it can give you, the pricing data, after you mark it up, the estimating data that you need. Or you might need a configurator, right? If you have options and preferences, things of that nature, you might need a CPQ or an enterprise quoting solution. There may be an opportunity for AI, right? So we talked about that with that pricing example earlier. Order entry, same thing. You might have a paper contract review process. Some of our customers that are in A&D or medical fields, they have to have multiple sign-offs at order entry that could go through quality or engineering. They need that sign-off as part of their process. And we've seen that on pieces of paper. The paper gets lost on a desk, and then, it takes 8 days to get it approved. Where if you have a workflow or automated workflow or event management system in your technology platform or ERP, it can automate that and shorten that down to a period of, a couple of hours or minutes, right? Another AI examples there. Engineering, there's always opportunities there. Purchasing, additional opportunities there. Same with production. I'm not going to name all of these on the screen, but for the sake of time, but you can see some of the common challenges and solutions. Inventory, right? Shipping, and of course, finance. So at the end state, you're going to have this value stream map of, hey, there's all these opportunities for technology to help. And then each of these green boxes have their own process documents, and they would have additional opportunities. And with all those opportunities to change, you need to prioritize. What is going to have the biggest bang for what is going to give us or you the biggest bang for your buck, right? So you can't do it all at once. I know we've all tried, and typically that means that we have a bunch of projects mid-flight or taking a lot longer than we thought they would. So if you can focus, you can get these things knocked off and then use that quarterly approach to continuously improve afterwards. So what we like to use is an impact difficulty matrix, otherwise known as an Eisenhower matrix, where in the bottom left hand, low difficulty, low impact. These are typically things that you can do without investing in new technology, that you might be able to do yourself without any help from a company like us. So we point those out, give you some suggestions, and you can go get those done within a matter of days, right? So low impact, low difficulty. And then what we want to look at next is things that have low difficulty, high impact, unless there's something in that top right-hand corner that's really going to transform the business, high impact, but high difficulty. And then understand those priorities, put a project in place. These kind of things are probably going to take a project, right? So we put that project in place and support your efforts there. So that's really steps 1 through 4 in that roadmap. And then we get into step 5, right? And this is where the technology comes in. But when you're looking at new technology, for example, if you're using an older on-premise potentially based system that doesn't have extensibility like APIs, or that would require you going out there and getting like an iPaaS solution, a low-code, no-code solution, helping with security, all these things that come in a platform, you're going to want to look at what other options are out there. Before you do, there's 3 important factors. Now, a few years ago, before COVID, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, your partner and your product are really the main 2 deciding points. You want to have a partner that had a deep bench. If they only had 3 or 4 people that could support you on a project, if one of them wins the lottery or goes on an extended vacation, that could affect your project. So you want a deep bench, and you want to make sure they've done lots of implementations with referenceable customers in your specific type of industry, right? Micro vertical or specific type of manufacturing or distribution. So the right partner is important. The right product is obviously important. You need the features that will support that future state goals on there, and you want to focus on those things that are important to you in that impact matrix. But the third thing today that is so important, if you want to get to AI, if you want to be competitive 3, 5, 7, 10 years from now, you need to have that platform. So we'll talk about that as well. So those are the 3 Ps. Now, choose the right partner. Again, I already kind of went through a lot of this. Need references, worked in your industry. They have a turnkey approach. Like, for example, at WM Synergy, we help with continuous improvement. We help with change management. We can help with lean and Kaizen events. But we also have hundreds of people that have done 1,800 ERP implementations, data governance and data cleanup and migrations from systems that you might be on now. We can do cloud hosting on our environment or in the public cloud, right? We have an understanding of compliance and security, and again, offer that turnkey approach for manufacturing and distribution companies. So some tips: meet the team, not just the sales reps that are in the demos or that are talking to you on the calls, but meet the people that are doing the services, right? You want to make sure those personalities match, that they really have the experience, that they're going to be the ones that are really on your project and not like a bait and switch. So you want to make sure you have those tips. You want to meet your executive sponsor at the partner you're working on. You want to have somebody in the executive team that knows about your business, knows about what you're trying to do, and that you can call if you need to. And talk to a couple customers, not just one. And then choose the right product. A lot of times, we look at these RFPs that come in and they're thousands of lines or hundreds of lines long, and they're all things that you're probably already doing today. But if you're going to change, there's these future needs that are so important to your business, whether it's the AI solution with pricing, whether it's improving your delivery performance or quality performance, or closing your month end, or increasing your availability of parts and improving supply chain, or improving your supplier performance, finding better suppliers for certain parts that either have lower cost, better quality, or better delivery performance, right? So you want to make sure that the things that are going to really improve your business are top of mind. And those are the things you want to focus the demo and the RFPs on, right? So that's helping with choosing the right product. You want to make sure that if you're thinking about AI, that their customer bill of rights, they're not selling that data or letting any other companies using that data. That's yours, and that you have access to that data at any time. And cybersecurity, of course, has to be important. So if you're in the cloud, what is their cybersecurity processes? What are they doing there? From SOC compliance, if you're an A&D, do you need CMMC compliance? Things like that. But again, you want to focus on that platform. So I'll ask a question, and I know this is a webinar, so I'm not going to get live responses here, but just think about this on this screen when you're watching this. If you're looking at this screen and these logos are the top 3 hottest performing stocks from 2009 to 2019 shown on this screen. So obviously I wouldn't be asking that question if it was, right? But if you were looking at this, I would assume that between Amazon, Netflix, Google, and Apple, that they probably were. Maybe I would think NVIDIA or something like that as well. But the answer might surprise you. It's actually Domino's. Domino's was one of the hottest growing by percentage of growth stocks in that time period. And the way they did that was with a platform, a technology platform. They had a solution that allowed them extensibility of their order entry capabilities into any social platform. So you could, click to order pizza from Instagram, from Facebook, from Snapchat, from others, right? And then the app gave the users a really cool experience that kind of gamified a little bit the pizza ordering and delivery process. So you had like a little configurator where you could say what toppings you want, how much cheese you wanted, those kind of things. And then you put your address in. So when it's in the oven, it tells you it's in the oven, comes out of the oven, into the car, it's on the way to delivery, it's going to be here in 5 minutes because it's using Google Maps. So it's built on a platform that supports this kind of experience and the ability to create these kind of tools and the extensibility into those other software solutions, right? So having that digital platform is so important, not just having an ERP that has sales order entry and purchase order entry and advanced planning and schedule and material planning and finance and quality control and estimating. You need something that has more than that. You need the platform. So most ERPs in the market today still just have this box on the top box, the enterprise application. It doesn't have that digital business platform, or if it does, it's very limited. And then it doesn't have options for cloud infrastructure with incredible uptime and incredible cybersecurity, as well as elasticity. So if you have a bunch of people on that and they're importing lots of data, it's not slowing things down, right? So you need to have all three of these things today, right? So when you're thinking about platform, these are the types of solutions that you want to make sure are included in the platform, right? So for example, if you are using ERP and you have clean data in it, so garbage in, garbage out, as we all know, you have that clean data in it, you might want to start doing analytics or reporting off that data. Again, that has to be clean. But then you might want to look at, hey, I have my ERP data, but I also want to look at the CRM data because there's customer data in both systems. There might be opportunity data in one, order data in both. I want to see data from both of them, so I need integration to each of them. So I want to see what's shipped inside of CRM so my reps can see that, for example. I might want to see my RMAs. I want to make sure my pipelines are, accurate, because you might have an opportunity pipeline, but you also might want to see your forecasts for orders in total. That includes a weighted pipeline plus the orders that may just be in the ERP. So you need that extensibility. That's just one example. You could have extensibility to CAD systems, the CPQ systems, etc. So you need to make sure that the platform supports that extensibility, but then it also understands how to bring that data together and normalize it so AI can do its work. If you just have a database in CRM and a database in ERP and a database in CAD and a database over here in HCM and then another one in QMS, how is AI going to learn if all that data is not normalized and understood and clean, and you have a kind of a mapping between what a customer ID is in one system and the other one? So you need that data lake, you need the data fabric, or you need the open APIs and the analytics there. Then you might want to build something like Amazon did for your customers. If you're in a manufacturing or distribution industry that goes through e-commerce, for example, you might want to give them a way to order something that looks like what the Amazon did. So you need something that has low code, no code extensibility into other e-commerce systems. You might want to do something with field service. That's part of your new way to do manufacturing business, is to do aftermarket services. That's a new revenue stream. You may need to add a unique feature in there for your business. So having that low code, no code application platform. Then you need workflow management that goes between all of those systems, not just in the ERP. So if something happens in CRM and this data is true in the ERP, I want to have this alert, or I want to have this automated process kick off or stop, right? Document management, you also need single sign-on, so you're not signing into everything with different passwords. You need to make sure that you're compliant with governance and GRC. You might want to have artificial intelligence, which we've been talking about for most of this webinar, and that requires all these things typically below it to be there, like machine learning and process intelligence as well. So when you're looking at it, you just don't want to look at the ERP. You need to consider the platform, because you might have other applications. You might want to tie into machines or IoT. You might want to have data from all these applications and these machines and the ERP looked at by machine learning, AI, and analytics. So you need to look at the platform as well, right? And all of these things are available for any size company. Again, a few years ago, that wasn't the case. Today, that's the case. And we showed some great use cases earlier on for that. So here's an example of a company that had chose an ERP on a platform, and they chose that ERP a couple years ago. They cleaned their data, they went to it. They're a multi-site, multi-entity company in this case. This company was roughly, I believe, around 100 million, might be a little bit less than that, maybe about 80 million. And they had the ERP, they had cleaned the data, and then they had this issue with inventory optimization that was, hurting their ability to deliver to their customers. They also had anomalies about what was shipped out. because maybe the wrong product was there, or not the whole order wasn't sent out. And with AI, because they already had a good ERP based on the platform, they were able to implement AI, a solution for this that identified 1.3 million in variances, created 30 times faster inventory optimization, 90% workload reduction, and that was all implemented from start to finish because they were on a platform with clean data and a good ERP under 90 days to value, right? They implemented this in under 90 days. And this quote from the president, with the right ERP, the right partner, and the right platform, those 3 Ps in place, we were able to meet these challenges and improve our business significantly across the board, including margins, our customer satisfaction, our on-time delivery, and our employee satisfaction. So just another great example there. And a word on data. We've all seen examples of AI hallucinating. Like if you ask the Google AI, who are the founding fathers, and it comes back with a picture that does not represent that. That's an example of hallucination because the data wasn't 100% accurate, right? So clean data fuels powerful AI and automation results. So what can you do today to prepare for moving to AI, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years down the road, is make sure you have that ERP built on a current platform. So if you don't have a platform, you're going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars more on all those tools that are in the platform to tie into an ERP that's not built on a platform. So you need that platform. And then the other big thing is make sure your data is clean, no duplicate records, no missing values, don't have outliers, and you have standardized data entry going forward, right? So that's steps 1 through 6. Then there's step 7, of course, continuously improve. And that's what we at WM Synergy help with. We do the consulting from either a strategic business consulting, ERP agnostic consulting framework that could be lean, change management, current state, future state, business process assessments, strategic planning, shop floor optimization, things like that. But then we have the ERP consultants that have a lot of experience in your industry sector, and can provide quite a bit of impact. Integrations, you want to integrate different systems and automate things. That's the integrate part. We have developers, quite a large staff of developers on staff to help if you have a unique requirement using those platform tools that we talked about, so it doesn't take that long to do these things. And then continuous improvement, that center of excellence that we have. Then we also offer cloud ERP for customers that are using perpetual software right now and want to move to a cloud ERP platform that we own, or if they want to use cloud ERP solutions that we implement and provide that are up in the publisher's cloud, typically on AWS or Azure or something of that nature. And we've been doing this for a long time. We have quite a few customers. We have the experience needed to help you as a manufacturer distributor who is the heartbeat of our economy, to help you improve and then continuously improve and be a long-term partner and a turnkey partner for all of your technology and business process requirements. So thank you for taking the time to walk through this journey of how to use ERP and AI to improve your business without breaking the bank, and actually having a net positive effect on your margins. If you'd like to talk to us, you can visit us at our website, email us at customercare@wmsynergy.com, or just scan that QR code. And you can also request a free consultation, just get started down that journey from steps 1 through 7. So thank you again, and I hope everybody has a great day and a great year full of prosperity, continuous improvement, and joy. Thank you.